Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this edition of the Cancer Coach Talks. I'm your host, Leslie Nance. And tonight we are going to be talking a little bit about some tips on how to trust something when you read it, especially when it comes to nutrition, which I think is such an important conversation. I'm going to give you some of my best tips tonight. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Can you believe it? Look, there's nothing on my bookshelves behind me, which is kind of crazy. It's all in boxes behind the camera and over here. It's like all in boxes because we are getting ready to move. So yes, hi Matthew, hi Ann, it's good to have you. Hi Lisa, thank you guys so much for joining. So please excuse my my bare walls. Well, hopefully within the next month we'll be in some new digs, and you guys can see my new office, which I'm super excited about. It is. It has like 3 giant windows and 1 small window, but 3 giant windows, and I'm super stoked about my new office space. Although it needs to be painted, it's like this horrible lemonade yellow and gray, and it's not like my favorite colors. Although I love yellow and gray, but not these shades. Anyway, so welcome everybody. Hi, Margaret, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you guys so much for joining me this evening. When are we moving? So hopefully we're projected like the middle of May. I know it's not even the middle of April yet, but we close on our house on Monday, the next Monday of our lives. We're supposed to close, Matthew, and then we'll take about a month to move because it's a long move from Colorado to Texas, and we have a lot of stuff. If you guys don't know, hi, it's good to see you. It's good to see you, Ann. If you guys don't know, Robin and I used to be antique dealers, and so we still have a lot of our really nice antiques and things and art and glass and things still in our home. And so it's a big move. I mean, just moving that bookshelf that was behind me was kind of a big move. So anyway, so yes, so that's the projection. Yes. Oh, thank you. I'm super excited too. Okay, let's get down to, I could talk about moving because I'm really stoked about it. Like, I'll take you guys on a little tour of our new digs when we get it. So, but tonight I want to talk about, I think I want to call this like how to navigate nutritional science, because here's what happens. You're scrolling through Facebook, right? Oh, let me introduce myself super fast. My name is Leslie Nance, certified holistic cancer coach, certified holistic nutritionist, 6-year cancer survivor. And I work one-on-one with many of you, actually, some of you that are here. I work one-on-one with my clients, teaching them how to make their body an inhospitable environment to cancer and to disease. And we do that with mindset and one-to-one coaching. And yes, so Margaret, oh no, never mind. I was just going to ask you a question, and then I decided I wasn't going to ask you a question. So tonight we're going to talk about, I kind of did a little funny thing and said how to digest nutritional science. But I'm going to give you some of my top tips for navigating this, because how many of you have found yourself totally confused about all the different things that you read about how to cure cancer? Is anybody have that problem? Has anybody been like, like every time you scroll through Facebook, because you've typed cancer one time, you see like 1,000 different posts about cancer, and it's like, eat baking soda and water and you won't have cancer anymore, and eat soursop and you won't have cancer anymore, and if you drink 5 gallons of Essiac tea every single day, you won't have cancer anymore. Has anybody here seen that? I mean, any of you guys been through that, and you're like, what is the truth? Like, what is that? What is the truth when I'm reading these things? And so I'm going to give you my 4 best tips tonight about navigating that. Dan's like, yeah, right? I mean, even some of you that are in coaching with me still come to me and say, what do you think about this? I read this today. And typically it just comes through something that you've scrolled through and seen on Facebook or Google, like you've Googled cancer before, and right? Lisa's saying it's so crazy. Tina's like, yes. Oh my gosh, so many of you. Me Me too, by the way. I get stopped by those things as well, saying, you know, like, what is the truth? And so I'm going to share with you my process for deducting what is the truth and what isn't the truth, right? Hi, Lena. It's good to see you. Thank you guys so much for being here. Hi, Tina. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, so step number one. Step number one is to go to the source. I'm going to just tilt this down just a little bit more. Sorry, I don't mean to make anybody seasick there. It's just kind of a little bit out of angle there. But step number one is going to be, what is the source? And so bloggers are really good. Media is really good. And there are people who are professionally trained to get your attention. And they have been doing it since the beginning of time. Marketing is not a new concept. Marketing has been around forever. Forever, marketing has been around. Forever, people have been trying to get other people to buy the things that they sell, and they do it with marketing. And the only difference now is that marketing is a free enterprise that just about anybody can afford through a blog, or through a Facebook ad, or through a Facebook video, much like you're watching right here, right? Like, I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot tonight, but it's anybody can say anything and try to get your attention. And so they are vying for your attention. And so they use these catchy titles, right? They use these catchy titles. Find out how these 5 people cured cancer with this one thing. And all these people had this one thing in common. And all you hear is people cured cancer. That's all you hear. And you will click on it to see what those people did. And it might be something crazy, like, you know, they rode a camel in the mountains for 4 hours, sitting backwards, staring into the sun. I know that was really crazy. I don't even know where that just came from, but it's these crazy ideas. It's these crazy notions that this one thing cures something, and we will all click on it. So how do we find out if it's the truth or not? And so scientifically, I only work with science. Even as a holistic practitioner, science of the body. How does the body work together? How does nutrition work in the body? How holistically does the liver work with the pancreas and the gallbladder? And what role does our breast play? And how does cancer spread from that area? Like, what happens? And what do we do? How can we prevent that from happening? That is, you need to go to the source. What is the source of that? Is it science? Is it based on fact, or is it a hunch? Now then, when I say go to the source, there are some things that you really need to pay attention to, and these are the things. Number one, don't get lured in by those shiny titles. Don't get lured in by the fancy, they're called clickbait, by the way. Don't get lured in by some crazy title. I know it's tempting to click on them, but when you get lured in and you read it, then what you need to do from there is you need to read the actual study. And this is what I like to call cherry picking data. And there are a lot of people out there right now that are cherry picking data. And they are finding data out of studies, and they're taking portions of studies to fit their agenda to sell you their product. Bottom line. They are taking studies for one particular thing, and they are cherry picking the data and saying and making a claim and saying this study showed blah, 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 to fit their own personal agenda because it's a product that they sell. And I would be super leery about that kind of information. So what I would do is I would go and read the study myself. Now that's what I do. I don't take anybody's word for it. I go and read the study. And if they don't source the study, then, you know, and they're making a big claim, then I'm done. You've got to source the study for me or I'm done. All right. I can't work on a hunch. I can't help people with their cancer on a hunch. I need to know what the study says, right? I know my shelves are totally empty. We are packing, Nancy. It's true. It's true. It's true. It's true. You might be surprised when you read the study. This might change your opinion about that person that you thought you could trust. We're going to talk about that in just a second. So go to the source. When you see shiny, big, bright, promising headlines, go to the source. Read the study. If it's over your head, then find another article that maybe explains it. Explains the study. A lot of times there'll be a complicated medical study or a complicated even a nutrition study, and then there'll be somebody like in a other publication like in PubMed that will actually like break the study down for you and tell you what the study was. So don't just take somebody's word for it. Actually physically read the study. All right, number 2. So the first one is go to the source. Number 2 is figure out who is behind the advice that you're receiving. This one is crazy important. So I don't know if you know, but there are all types of studies. There are double blind, and I don't even have time to go into all the different types of studies that there are, but here's to say that there are tons and tons of studies. You need to make sure that you know who funded that study. So if somebody comes in and says, dairy is really good for you and everybody should be drinking dairy, chances are that the American Dairy Association is behind that study. I know. It's crazy town. So you need to make sure that you are paying attention who has funded the study. If there is a new drug out and they make all of these claims and all of these promises, you need to go make sure that the parent drug company has not funded that study. Now, food companies are famous for this. Pharmaceuticals are famous for this. But now more and more and more, we're seeing supplement companies that are doing this, that are making giant claims. And I'll give you an opposite example of this as well. I'll give you there is a particular company that sells a supplement, and it's a all-inclusive supplement. Like you take it and it's got all the nutrients that you need for a day in it, right? Hi, Dee, it's good to see you. It's got all the nutrients that you need for a day in this supplement, right? And so they have all of these studies to back up why it's such a great thing to take this supplement. And all of the studies are funded by that company. Now, guess what? These are not peer-reviewed, non-biased studies. These studies are geared for finding favorable outcomes for this particular product. It's crazy. So if somebody's making a giant claim about something, you need to find the source. Okay? You need to find what that source is, especially if they're trying to get you to buy something. You need to find out who is behind that advice, who funded the study, where was the study performed, what was the agenda for the study, right? Favorable results are always easy to find. You want me to find 20 reasons why you should eat bacon? Guess what? The American pork, whoever people, they funded a study that says, here's all the reasons why, right? Hi, it's good to see you. Thanks for being here. But here's the reason why pork is so good for you. It's crazy, right? There's all these studies about wine. People are like, oh, wine is good for you. There's all these studies that prove that wine is good for you. And what they don't understand is that the national wine, whoever people paid for all of those studies to tell you. It is very easy to get a study to come out the way that you want it to be. And if they are sell, and I have all these studies to back it up, I'd be scratching my head. Like, who paid for those? Where'd you get that information? Where did that come from? So there you go. Who's behind the advice? Who paid for that advice to be published? And does it meet that payee's agenda? It's very, very, very important that you figure that out. Okay. All right. So number one is go to the source. Number two is find out who's behind the advice. Number three, I always, 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 always look for backup. I have never once in the entire time that I have been coaching people through cancer taken one study and said that that's it because this one study proved this thing, because that is cherry picking data. I want backup. I want to know that I know that I know that I know. I want several people to have found the same outcome in a study. It's very important. And so, I told you I was going to give you an example of the opposite of that, of the company that, hi Suzanne, the company that was actually, saying, oh, our product is like awesome, but they're the ones who funded the study. Let me give you the opposite of that. There's a very small company called Tea for Health, and they sell green tea. Many of you are who are my clients, I ask you to actually to drink the green tea. Not all of you. Sometimes it's not appropriate for some people, but it's appropriate for a lot of people. And so I ask you to drink the green tea. And this company is called Tea for Health, and it's teaforhealth.com. And I have a discount code if you're interested in trying their tea. But teaforhealth.com has all of these comparisons. They don't do studies, but they do comparisons. And so when people come up against them and say, well, how come I should pick your tea over this particular brand? I really like this brand. So they take that tea and they actually put it through testing and compare it to their own tea and say, here are the reasons that our tea is better. And they show the science behind why their tea is better. And they have all these brands that they've done this for. They've actually scientifically looked at the ingredients, and they'll say, well, here's your antioxidant level, here's our antioxidant level, and they've only found like a couple of teas, and they're willing to say it, that are comparable to theirs. They don't hide any of that data, whether it's good or bad. They don't hide any of that. And I love that. That kind of data I can totally get behind. That's transparent like that. That's amazing. And so, so there are companies out there doing things differently. But if they're shouting from the highest rooftops about how awesome they are, and we have all these studies to prove it, then I would just figure out who's doing the funding. And it could be that somebody else is doing the funding, and that's awesome. But you just want to make sure that you know that you know that you know that. All right. So number three, look for backup. If 100 studies say that keto is bad for cancer, the ketogenic diet is not good for cancer, and only 2 say that it's good, and like 100,000, people, like all of these cancer celebrities are saying it's perfect and it's a great diet. And oh, by the way, we have a supplement that will keep you in ketosis. And if you buy this supplement and that's great for you and blah, 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 blah. And you know who I'm talking about, these people that I'm talking about. But if 100 studies says that it's bad and a couple say that it's good, I don't automatically jump on that couple that say it's good and let it give me a license to eat as much as much bacon as I want. I was going to use a sugar example as well. Eat as much bacon as I want, and that's what people do. They're like, oh, the ketogenic diet is the way to go. It's the best thing. And some of you may be on a keto diet, and I'm not dissing that. I'm just using it as an example. Although I do have a beef with the ketogenic diet. It's not my favorite diet by any stretch of the imagination. But if all of these studies say that it's bad and only a couple say that it's good, don't just say, oh, well, then I'm going to do keto because they say it's good. And, this person says that it's good, but there's only a couple of things to back that up. And so, there are tons and tons and tons of studies that show that a plant-based diet is preferable for most cancer journeys. Not all cancer journeys, but for most cancer journeys. And so that I can get behind. There's probably a couple that say, oh, well, actually, no, keto is good for that. But I would need hard science, and I need lots of studies before I jumped on any bandwagon like that. And so same thing with sugar, or let's use the egg study that just came out. There was an egg study that just came out that said, eating eggs is, eating eggs is bad for your health. I can't remember, it causes heart attacks, or I can't remember what they said about it. But, so don't eat eggs, and it was, the coconut oil thing and what happens is that these other companies, these other affiliates have agendas against these, don't want you to sell as many eggs. And so then it becomes a problem. Or you just have one big study that says this, and that's it, and there's no other proof. And then there's like 100 studies that say that eggs are good for you. But the big headline is, because they had massive funding for this particular study, the big headline is, and they can use all the social media and everything to say eggs are bad for you. And then a whole bunch of people get on board saying, I told you so. And it becomes this huge giant mess. And then this is where all the confusion starts to happen. And so look for backup, stay away from trends. If there's a trend, and you keep seeing that same trend, and it's brand new, and it's like, this trend that is happening. Biology hasn't changed, people. Physiology has not changed. Human beings are the same biology that we have always been. We have not changed. The only thing that has changed is the circumstances around us, which means the food that we're eating and the things that we're exposed to. That is what has changed. We are not designed to eat some of these diets and eat these massive amounts of nutrients that people are saying that we should. Cancer or not, by the way. And so just make sure, I'm getting on a soapbox there, but just make sure that you are looking for the backup of those studies. Just don't take one person's word for it. Which leads me to number 4. So number 1 is go to the source. Number 2 is find out who's behind the advice. Number 3 is look for the backup. And number 4 is find a trusted source. Who do you trust? And usually trust comes from expertise and a proven background. If you have somebody that has successful client after successful client after successful client, they are probably doing something right. Now, there are a lot of you in here tonight, and if you want to give a shout out and say that, I'm not going to call you out because I don't want to embarrass you, but if you want to give a shout out, there are several of you in here tonight that are amazingly successful clients of mine. And I'm kind of tooting my own horn here because, just today I got the news from one of my clients who had stage 4 pancreatic cancer that they're pretty sure that they're going to be able to put her into remission. They're shooting for remission from stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Now, she did the hard work. I just provided a roadmap for her. She actually had to use, thank you, Cindy. She had to use, hi, Cindy, it's good to see you. She had to use that roadmap to get what she wanted, right? But it's important that you find somebody that you trust. It's important that you find somebody when they say something that you're like, yeah, I trust you when you say that, because they're doing the right thing. They have a proven track record. That is super important. Not all of us have the time to read all the studies. That's my job. I read studies in bed at night. That's how exciting I am. I'm one of those people who has like medical studies and medical journals that I'm reading through. I want to know, right? Isn't that fantastic? Oh, Anne, it was fantastic news today. Amazing news today. But just because someone says it and it's on Facebook and they made it public with a fancy video with like all the production and all the bells and whistles, and they were really eloquent when they said it, and they're very convincing, it doesn't make it true. What is their track record? What kind of help are they providing people, right? Thank you, Nancy, right? I love it. Thank you, Nancy, for saying that. Nancy is definitely one of my success stories. If you've ever watched my webinar, Nancy's my example that I use for being a cancer boss because of her work that she did with her doctor, which is still one of my favorite stories ever. So yeah, but if you've watched the webinar about being a cancer boss, Nancy who's here with us tonight, is the example that I use in there, because she was just total cancer boss with her doctor one day. So, and it was so fun to watch her do that. Not all of us can afford the time to be a studied nutritionist. Sometimes we need to ask for professional help. Sometimes even if you work with me, sometimes I reach out to my mentors. I have several mentors that I work with, and sometimes I'm scratching my head going, okay, I need to find next steps. And I actually consult with my mentors to find out I have a hunch, but I want to confirm it. I want to know what comes next. And so I'm not even like that silver bullet person. Sometimes I have to find help as well. So not all of us have the time to read all the studies and to find all the nutritional results and to understand even what sometimes I'm like, what does that mean? I don't even know what that means. And then I end up having to Google like 56,000 things to figure out what that one statement meant, because I was confused by it. So, but just know that just because somebody has all the finances to do fancy videos and to have fancy productions and to make all of these claims, right? Thank you, Anne. Anne is another one of my total superstars, you guys. She has had an amazing couple of weeks in information. Anne's actually going to come on and a Facebook Live after this crazy week gets over. This next couple of weeks, she's actually going to come on a Facebook Live, and she's agreed to do that and tell her story about her journey through her breast cancer, and hopefully to encourage some of you to really think differently about what is happening to you, because she's the most probably one of the most transformed people I've had the pleasure of working with. She's just done an amazing job. So she's going to share that with you guys one day in the near future. So, but just because you see it somewhere does not mean that it's valid for your cancer. And these are the things that I would always ask myself if it were me. When I see these fancy things like scroll across my Facebook, I'm always impressed by them. I'm like, man, I wish I could do that. I wish I knew how to do. I wish I had the finances to like do this. Like one of those Facebook videos can cost like $10,000 to $15,000, and then they have to pay to like sponsor it and get all that information like out to you guys and those ads, and they can be incredibly expensive. And I'm always like, dang, I wish I could do that. That'd be so awesome. But then in the back of my head, I'm like, I don't need to do that. I have a wait list. Okay, I don't need to do that, but I do get jealous by it, and I get starry-eyed about it too when I see those things. But just because they say it doesn't mean that it's true. And here's always the questions that you should be asking yourself when you see those videos. Number one, did they ever ask you what type of cancer you have? Did that trusted source ever say, hey, Anne, hey, Nancy, hey, Cindy, hey, Dee, what type of cancer do you have? Do they ever ask you that? Do you ever have that opportunity to get their advice based on what is happening to you? The second thing I would always ask is, that I would want them to ask me if I was watching that is, what were your behaviors like before you had cancer? What was your life before you were diagnosed? In other words, looking for the pieces of the puzzle, right? Looking for the pieces of puzzle that lead up to that diagnosis. Are they asking you that question? What was your life like before you were diagnosed with cancer? What were your stress levels like? What's your family life like? What's your work life like? What was your diet like? What were your sleeping habits like? Did you exercise? I mean, are they asking any of those questions? And then the other question I would want them to ask me is, what treatments have you undergone? So what type of cancer do you have? What were your habits like before cancer? And what treatments have you had? Because 9 times out of 10, those shiny videos from those people that are making all of these giant claims never ask you that information. And it's important. If somebody's going to provide a path for you to healing, they better darn well know what path you need. And I don't see how anybody could do that without asking you some questions about your personal life and your personal habits. Now then, I'm not trying to satisfy my own agenda here. Although it does satisfy my own agenda, that's not what I'm trying to do. I am trying to get you to have a breakthrough in your mindset. Because when we're constantly following shiny objects, when we're constantly looking for that next thing, that deal, that thing that's going to take this all away and I'm going to get to go back to my regular life, when we're constantly chasing that, we lose focus on what truly is the healing pathway for us. Now, my clients know how to direct that energy because I ask them those questions and a lot more. and he, I mean, we talk about all kinds of stuff when I'm working with a client one-on-one. And that's why I have chosen to do one-on-one work. I could be one of these people who are doing this like one size fits all sort of scenario and filling a whole bunch of people's agenda. But I'm interested in transformations. I want you to be transformed. I want you to have a moment in your life where cancer becomes an actual blessing as opposed to an enemy in your life. That is what's important. This is how you get to a healing pathway. So when you read all of these fancy things and all of these cures and all of these people selling all of this stuff to you, just put your thinking cap on. My mom used to say that. Leslie, put your thinking cap on. Okay, what does that mean? You know, what's the source of this study? What's the source of this information? Who's behind this advice? What is the backup for what you're claiming? Are you a trusted source? And have you asked me anything about my personal journey? So that's the advice I have for you. So when you're trying to navigate all of these waters, these are the things that you should be thinking about in your journey. Now then, a lot of you here tonight that are live with me in Facebook are my clients because you know the value of talks like this. But if you're watching this and you have not reached out to me and you're like, I'm following shiny objects, like I'm chasing shiny objects, I'm like squirrel. It's like you see something, you're like, oh, I'm gonna go try that. You know, and you need to be settled. You need somebody to walk you through this path. Then it's time to book the phone call. A lot of you have been sitting on the fence. A lot of you have been like, oh, I need to talk to Leslie. I should really talk to Leslie. And you're afraid. You're going to be afraid of the price. You're going to be afraid of the commitment. You're going to be afraid that I can't help you. You're going to have all of these reasons why you should not make the phone call. She's going to try to talk me into something. She's going to try to sell me something. I am not selling anything. I am providing a service to my clients that is transformational. Does it have a price tag? Well, yeah, it's coaching. It's how I make my living. Of course it does. But that's not what you should be afraid of. You should be afraid of all of those shiny objects that are taking your attention away from the path to healing. That's what you should be afraid of. And if it's not with me and it's with another coach or another person that can help you, then that is what you should be looking for. That personalized one-on-one approach to your situation. It doesn't have to be with me. I'm not right for everything. I'm not right for every person, right? I love it. Thank you, Anne. Yes, for sure, for sure. 100% for you, girl. 100% for you. So I'm going to put a link, just like I always do, every single week. And some of you have been seeing that link over and over again, and you've been watching and you've been seeing that link and you've been thinking, oh, I should really talk to Leslie. Some of you have already had a phone call with me and you're like, I really need to do this. Like, I need to do this. I need to just bite the bullet and I just need to do it. What are you waiting for? How many more signs do you need? What do you need to be convinced that it's time to take back control of your cancer journey? What do you need to be convinced to be the boss of this situation and stop letting cancer boss you around? Choice is up to you. Ball's always in your court. I'm going to leave the link right here, right now. Thank you guys so much for being here with me tonight. I'm going to be back on Thursday. We're going to be talking about emotional eating. Here's the link, GO2 kitchens.com. Some of you can say that out loud with me. You've seen it so much, you can say it out loud with me. / Go To Kitchens apply. Go To Kitchens is our sister station, our sister, right? Oh, thank you, Cindy. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for saying that. If you're watching on YouTube, you can't see the comments, but a lot of my clients are making really nice comments here, and love working with each and every one of you. It's such a blessing. You guys are, it's funny because you guys are just such a massive blessing in my life as well. And I love watching you transition into healing. It's just like, every day I'm just like, I get to do this for a living. This is like what I do for a living. People say to me all the time, oh, I bet it's really hard working with people who have cancer. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? These people are freaking amazing. Have you ever met anybody who has the intention for healing, like has their intention set for healing? Because they are amazing people. And I love what I do. Is it hard sometimes? Absolutely. Cancers can be a battle sometimes, but I'm there. I'm putting on the armor. I'm going toe to toe with you. We're going to figure this out. So yeah, absolutely. All right. Shout out to each and every one of you tonight. Love you so much. Thank you for watching. If you're watching a replay, link is in the bio. If you're watching on YouTube, link is in the description. So please just take a quick moment. There is an application to fill out when you hit the apply button and you make an appointment with me. I think I'm booking into next week. I'm not sure. But when you hit the apply button and you make an appointment with me, there is going to be an application that follows. Please fill that out. That application is actually, I'm not trying to dig all up in your business. What I'm trying to do is to make the call super efficient. So that first call is absolutely free. There is no strings attached. I am trying to figure out if there is something I can do to help you. If I can help you, then I will make you an offer to be in the program. And so there's nothing, everybody's like, how much does it cost? I'm like, well, it's free until I figure out if you're a good fit. I mean, I have to know that first. And if you're a good fit, then then we'll put you in there. So thank you guys. So make sure that you fill out that application. That is super important part of the process for helping me understand what it is that you need help with. So love you guys so much. Have a great evening. I will see you on Thursday night. We're going to be talking about emotional eating on Thursday night, and what part that plays actually in our cancer journey. So, and believe it or not, there's all types of emotion, negative and positive emotional eating, and not eating as well. So we're going to decode that a little bit and talk about that. All right. Love you guys so much. Right. Wow, that's amazing, Susan. Thank you for sharing that with us, right? Yes, Nancy, we are working on a maintenance group, and I keep getting stops for one thing or the other. This move happened so quickly because I never anticipated that we would find a house so quickly. And so, because I'm kind of picky. And so this move has stopped me once again. But yes, it is something that we've kind of backburnered it just a little bit, but something we're still working on. So yeah. So bear with us. I have a lot of things that it's already like the 4th month of the year. And I'm like, we're already in 2nd quarter, and there's like many things that I haven't gotten around to yet. But yeah, I'm so busy. I have a full client load all the time, it feels like. So yeah, but we will get to it. I promise. Yes. Yahoo! I know. Awesome. So I just have to read out loud, if you're watching on YouTube, what Susan said, because Susan is not one of my clients. So let's just be crystal clear about this. But this is amazing what she said here. She said, although my cancer changed my life, I'm thankful to be alive. She had pancreatic and lung cancer, and bladder cancer 6 years ago. So people, thank you, Susan, for sharing that with us, by the way. Cancer's not your destiny. Cancer was not Susan's destiny, and she obviously knew that. And that's amazing. That's amazing work that you did there. And so I just want to give you a huge shout out for that, because it should not go unrecognized. Oh, you're already in a new house. Oh my gosh, that was fast. I need to know more about that. You're faster than me. Uh, yes. So yeah, amazing, amazing. Thank you for sharing that with us. So much hope. Believe it or not, everybody, your success stories sheds hope into so many people. And when they're just beginning their journey or in the middle of their journey. So never be shy about sharing that information, because it is, a lot of people are afraid that they're going to make people sad, like they're like, oh, I'm not doing that well. But that just instills hope in people that it's possible, that it's a possibility, not only to survive, but to survive well through these processes. So, yes. All right, guys, many blessings. I will see you on Thursday. Bye, everybody.